Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and this is Tales from the Craft Room. Today I am working on my Knooked stocking hat in the round, and I thought I would point out I originally started out doing this with the actual cable from the extended Tunisian crochet kit that I have, but I'm afraid that the end of the cable will get messed up to where it clicks into like the hook or the stopper or the extension thing. So I decided to try and use the helper yarn or whatever you want to call it. So that's what I did. I can't show you exactly, but I just tied into this. I've showed you previously that these do have a hole and you can tie in some yarn to that. So that's what I've done. I do have it in a knot so it does not come apart. Pardon me. And I have done actually several rows. This is what it is looking like so far. I also did stop with the nooking for a couple of rows and I went to just regular knitting needles, but I was watching another nooking video today and I decided to try the actual, yarn or string or whatever in the round. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I wish I would have tried this sooner instead of trying to be, brave and use the cable. But anyway, let's do a little more nooking. I have changed my color. This is the first row of my increase. I've measured this as 6 inches. And these colors in here are just randomly chosen. Some of them, let's see, I chose that one. My husband chose that one. My oldest son chose that one. My local yarny friend chose that one. And then I decided to use Wheel Decide. And I put the remainder of colors that I have available with me in there. And I'm letting the wheel decide. So the wheel decided the green. And I believe the last 2 rows here, from like the second, because there's 3 of the blue in between each color change. So the last 2 rows here and up are with the actual yarn instead of the cable. So, but anyway, the wheel chose that one and the wheel chose this one. It is 6 inches up to this last blue line, and I am on my first row of decrease. So let's start decreasing. I just did a decrease here, and I will be doing it again in a few more stitches. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. I think this goes a whole lot faster too. 12, 13, 14, and then we got a decrease. 15, 16. Need another stitch marker. I think part of the reason I didn't do this like this before is I wasn't completely sure on how to put stitch markers in because I wasn't clear on how the helper yarn would work. And then I watched another video today on doing something in the round and it clicked, because if you see here, I'm on this row here, but my yarn is clear down on the other row still. So, yeah, I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot. Stay there. And I've gone through these last couple rows pretty quickly. Quicker than I did with knitting needles and a whole lot quicker than I did with the actual cable for the extended crochet kit. So I got to make some more room here. Just stretch it all out, and I've still got plenty of yarn back here, so I know that my stitches aren't going to fall off because I've got it back here, and up here is where my row starts. So I have a little bit of, I'm sorry, I had it back where you couldn't see it. My helper yarn from the previous row stops back several stitches from where my first stitch is here. So yeah, I'm pretty confident. And it does scrunch stitches down, but it doesn't really make that big of a deal because you can stretch them right back out, just like in regular knitting. Now, I am not a professional at this. I am new at this. I am still learning how to do it, and I will say I do like it. I like it a lot. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and one more decrease, 15 and 16. And one reason I shied away, another reason, not one reason, but another reason I shied away from using the yarn or string for the cable is because of, like I showed you a little bit ago back here when I pulled the yarn out, those scrunched down, and I didn't know whether or not that would cause a problem. Well, apparently it does not, and I have learned since that it is fairly easy to, you know, solve that problem. You just gotta pull it, and it works out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Time for another stitch marker. I'm looking for a particular one. I'm picky about my stitch markers when I'm doing this for good reason. And my number 1 stitch marker is going to have to change colors because I always use, when I'm knitting, which my number 1 obviously is right here, and it is a green one. I normally use a black one there, just so I know that that's my first stitch. So that one's going to be changed out here when I get around to it again, to a black one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to make some more room here. Get 6. See how that scrunched that down? It's fine. I know that now. 7. And here's where my previous one stops at. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and this would be 15, 16. Now it's time to switch back to my blue because I have my 1 row of, you know, different color as I've been doing. So I'm not real sure how I'm going to do that. I'll just put the different one on and then get my black one here. And then also what I like to do, because this is, with this you decrease a row and then you just knit a row just regular, and then you decrease for, I can't remember how many rows. I'll have to go check my pattern. But when I get to my knit row, because I can't always remember whether I'm knitting or decreasing, because a lot of times I have to put the project down in the middle of something and then pick it back up, I like to take an extra stitch marker of some sort. Usually it's not one of these, but I don't see my other, oh yes I do, hold on. This is the one I like to use. This is one that I got gifted. I don't remember who gifted it to me, but if it was you, thank you. This is one of those little claspy ones. It's easy to put on that little marker there. So then I know that when this is on my first stitch marker, I am on a knit row. When I get done with the knit row, I take that off, and then I know that that is my decrease row. That way, if I have to put this project down for whatever reason, I know whether I'm knitting or decreasing. Oh yes, and I said we're back to our regular color. So this is how I do it. I'm just going to ignore this one so that I can take it off when I get there. But I pick up my first loop. And I don't know if this is how everybody does it, but this is how Anna does it. If there's a better way to do it, let me know. And the reason I've been doing this way, I will show you. I just take my yarn, my main color yarn, or if I'm changing to a different color, and I just pull it through the loop like that. Take this over here and hold it. And then I knit a few more stitches before I tie that. And the reason I tie that is because of what happened on row number 1. I wasn't going to, I figured I'd just carry my yarn up, but then I decided I didn't like it because it, quote, left a hole. And I think I know why now. Alright, so I've got several stitches there. I'll show you my mess in here too. Here is the one that I just put on. Here's a yarn that I just stopped using. I've been cutting and tying. I learned this from loom knitting, not loom knitting, from Addie knitting. Makes sense now, but previously it did not make sense because that just makes that back bump or whatever you want to call it on the back side. And I will show you down here on the bottom. See how it left a hole there? Yeah, that's because I decided not to cut my blue and then went on to the brown, but I later on decided to, after that, I was going to do it that way because, like I said, it left that hole there. I just tied that. So, but yeah, here's what the inside looks like. I got some things to take care of, but that's okay. And now, since I've gone far enough, I'm going to start pulling out my bottom stitch. Let's say this is how Anna does it. I don't know how everybody else does it. But I just pull it out like that. Stretch it out a little bit. A little farther. Pull out a little bit more. Which this is completely different than when I was using the cable. Because the cable was right here at this last stitch. And when I was done knitting it, I would just, pull it off the cable. So yeah. This is completely different, but I kind of like it because if I notice I messed up, then I have this yarn a row down that I can frog back to and not really lose anything. So there's that. So I'm going to go to about right here. Pull out that yarn on that bottom row. And then I'm good to go. Got plenty of room. I can stretch this out. There we go. So let's knit around and then I will check back with you in another video.